Okay, welcome everybody. So I'm Deb Thorpe, and for those who don't know me, I am a counsellor, coach, and therapist supporting your total well-being. So I'm going to be providing you with short little videos all about stress and how you can move yourself out of stress. So in this video, we're going to be looking at 5 signs that you are in chronic stress at the moment. So today we'll cover what chronic stress is, what the warning signs are, what to do about it, and how will it feel at the end of this session to understand when you're experiencing chronic stress and what to do about it. So the stress response is in response to a perceived danger. So it's our fight or flight state. So we have 2 parts of our nervous system that work together. One is our fight and flight response, one is our rest and digest. It's one or the other that you are in at any one time. It is that black and white, okay? So our stress response is when our fight and flight response is triggered. So some of the signs that you are in that stress response are an increase in adrenaline. So when you can feel your heart rate quickening, your breath shortens and it becomes more shallow, you sweat more, your digestive system is triggered. So quite often you need to go to the toilet more. It's part of our body getting rid of any excess weight, essentially, in the event that we need to run away. We find that we can't think clearly, so our brain might feel like it's in a bit of a fog. And you almost can't see the wood for the trees. Our thinking becomes very linear, so very tunnel visioned, and our senses are heightened. So we become more perceptive to potential danger and stress triggers. So just briefly, what triggers stress? It can be absolutely anything. Anything that requires a change in our body or how we react to something has the potential to trigger stress. So I'm telling you this because it's unreasonable to expect to go through life not ever being triggered, even with all of the information and the tools and the techniques I'm going to be teaching you over the next few weeks. You won't go through life never being triggered. So it's why it's super important that we learn what our response is and we learn to choose to respond to it differently. So bad stress, and I call this like the slow burn. Okay, so bad stress is where that fight or flight response is ongoing. So the fight or flight response is meant to be momentary. So we're meant to, it's a very old part of our brain, of our body, back to our caveman days. You go out of your cave and there's a bear there, and that fight or flight response is triggered instantly, so that you in that moment make a decision about whether you're going to run for it, whether you're going to try and fight, or whether you're going to freeze. So it's designed to be momentary. Then either when the bear goes away or you retreat back into your cave, that system is meant to subside and your rest and digest response takes over. Now, what happens is if we are, say, there's an external event that triggers us. So say we might have been involved in a car accident and everyone's okay, but it did trigger that fight or flight response. If we don't allow that system to subside, then we continue this fight or flight response within us. So maybe we keep replaying the incident in our mind. Maybe it becomes a really negative thought loop where we're telling ourselves how how rubbish a driver we are and how that should never have happened, and what if and what if and what if. So we keep that anxiety and stress response going within us. And the reason why this is so detrimental and why I'm so passionate about educating people about stress is because when stress becomes chronic, so when we are, I'll take you through the list now of all the things that chronic stress does to us, it won't sort itself out. We at some point have to acknowledge this is what's going on for us, and we have to make a decision to activate our rest and digest response. Okay, so some of the signs that you are in chronic stress is that it suppresses your immune system. So if you are sort of almost constantly feeling a bit under the weather, you're prone to getting, every cough and cold that's going around. You just don't feel 100% in yourself. You don't feel like you're functioning particularly well. That's one of the signs that you're in chronic stress. Another one is that it upsets your digestive system. So if you imagine, that adrenaline being constantly triggered, it really upsets your digestive system. So it can lead to conditions like IBS, maybe you're suffering with diarrhea. And also what happens is, because it's upsetting your digestive system, your body isn't able to absorb all of the vitamins and minerals out of the food that you're eating, which again then is meaning that you don't have the healthiest body. Even if you're trying to eat well, it's unlikely to be making too much difference because your body's not processing that food particularly well. And, that feeds into your rundown immune system as well. So that's another sign. Another one is that it's affecting your sleep and your ability to switch off. So if you find that you're struggling to get to sleep, or one of the big signs of chronic stress is that you can get to sleep, but then you awake after 2 or 3 hours. Because when we're in this fight or flight response, we're concerned with survival, and we can survive on 2 to 3 hours sleep. Now, that's not good for us. That's not going to give us nice glowing skin and help our bodies repair. It's not concerned with, ensuring that we have a really nice life along the way. All our fight and flight response is concerned with is survival, and you can survive on 2 to 3 hours sleep. So a very common symptom of chronic stress is that you can only get around 2 to 3 hours sleep at a time. Another effect of chronic stress is that it speeds up the aging process. So if you are just noticing that within yourself, maybe your skin and hair are going grey, you've got bags underneath your eyes, you've got more lines and wrinkles developing than before, you're just generally feeling aches and pains within your body, that again is a sign of chronic stress. And lastly, we're more susceptible to anxiety and depression and other mental health problems with chronic stress. So if you find that you can't remember the last time when you genuinely had one of those big belly laughs and felt really good about it, and you're feeling anxious all of the time, and your sort of moods are all over the place, that's another sign of chronic stress. Okay. So like I said, chronic stress won't just go away on its own. It's not one of these things that we can bury our head in the sand about. We can't, we try and fool ourselves, I think, a lot of the time. And we think, well, it's just stressful at this moment in time, but it'll get better, work will ease off, and the kids will grow up and it will get easier. And we kind of put off when we believe this chronic stress will end. And in reality, it doesn't. And it is this compound effect. So the more that we are in a stressed state, the easier that stress state gets triggered. And you'll find it, you know, some people will just say, I'm just up to here. I can't take anymore. And, you know, we really do get to that point where we feel at our limit. So we have to take back control of this. In normal functioning, like I said, you know, in your caveman days when you would have come face to face with the bear, your fight or flight response is triggered, that bear goes away, you go back into your cave, you know, you share a meal, you sleep, your rest and digest response would automatically be triggered. You wouldn't even have to be thinking about this. But when we're in a state of chronic stress, our body has lost the ability to trigger that rest and digest response. So we need to trigger it. So there's a few techniques to trigger this. It's not long and complex. It's a switch in the body. That's all it is. You can go from stressed to relaxed in the body instantly. So we can do this by deep breathing. This is a great one, especially, you know, if you're in the workplace and you can feel that stress being triggered and, you know, you're not likely to be able to just quickly pop out and do some exercise. Deep breathing is very accessible. So what we want to do is take a nice deep breath in for about count of 4. Hold it for a couple of seconds and then breathe out for more like a count of 5 or 6. So we want to be making our out breath longer than our in breath. Do that 5 or 6 times and it physiologically changes our body into that rest and digest response. Guided meditation is a good one. I will attach to this video a very simple 10-minute guided meditation which takes your body into that rest state. Exercise is brilliant. Like we've mentioned with chronic stress, many of the symptoms of it are physical. So doing a physical activity to get that stress out of the body is really effective. So particularly things that are rhythmic, you know, running, jogging, walking, swimming, yoga, anything that just enables your body to get into a nice rhythm and work that stress out. Avoiding sugary foods and caffeine. We don't want to be triggering the body into a more heightened state. We want to be allowing it to relax. And then doing any activities that get you out of your head. So if you find that part of your chronic stressed state is that you cannot quiet that mind chatter that just keeps going on and on and on, and you can feel it making you more and more anxious, then do something that gets you out of your head. Gardening, painting, sewing, doing some exercise, anything that just gets you out of your head for a moment, okay, is really, really beneficial. So in summary, bring awareness to how you feel in your body and what you're telling yourself. So the first thing that we can do when it comes to stress is become aware of how we're feeling in our body. What are we telling ourselves? Are we experiencing those signs of chronic stress? And then consciously choose relaxation. So understand that chronic stress is not going to go away. It's a downward spiral. Okay, it doesn't get better. Chronic stress, they now know, causes many, many health problems down the road. It physically is depleting every single system in your body. So this isn't something that you need to fight. You know, this isn't a long, complicated process in order to deal with chronic stress. It's a switch that we have to make. So we have to make a conscious choice to choose that rest and digest response, choose relaxation, and then do an activity that brings us into a relaxed state. And then this is the place where we feel in the flow. So when you've had those times in your life when you feel like, yeah, this is it, I'm in the zone, I feel good, you know, time is irrelevant, this is feeling easy, that's how we are meant to live our lives. That's our natural state. We've become so conditioned to believe that stress is part of it. That's part of life. We're just meant to feel this way. I'm telling you now, we're not. As human beings, we are not designed to be in this constant stress state. It will slowly destroy everything about you. So let's not fight it. Let's choose today that we are going to choose relaxation. And if you've been in stress for a long time, it will feel strange. It will feel really weird to you because stress has become your norm. But make a decision today that the relaxed state, that's where you're meant to be. That is where life is meant to be lived from. And in the next video, I'm going to explore more with you about that relaxed state and just how limitless life becomes from that place. So enjoy. I'd love to hear how you get on. Do connect with me, and I'll be back with more very soon. Bye for now.